Hi, everybody again. Lizzie here, back with another story to tell. So, as I said before, there's so many ways in nature that we can access our own healing abilities. And one of the ways I've come to grow to love is the Vision Quest. And so, where you go out into the bush and you sit alone for a few days and nights and fasting, and you call for a vision. And this, when you purify the body system, uh, to take away all the distractions, it allows you to take away the ego self and access the soul self. It's a beautiful way of connecting to yourself, to earth, and to source. So this is a story. I have done a couple of vision quests, which I will talk about as the time goes on. But this one is from 2018. Again, it was part of the Shamanic Womancraft course I did. And this, it was a 10-day retreat. And the first few days we gathered in circle and we would tell our story of our intention, why we were going down to the bush, down to our space, to what we wanted to get out of the solo time. And then we would go to our we each had a space that we could go to in the forest, and we sat there for 3 days and 3 nights, and then we came back, and in the last 3 days we talked about our experience in the Vision Quest. So I took my drum with me, and the first couple of days it was really just settling in, time of settling. Connecting was a time of connecting in. I had never fasted before, so I was a little nervous about the fasting because, like many people, I had an eating disorder in my teens, and it had taken me many years to balance out that. So I was a little bit concerned about not eating, but it ended up being that didn't affect me, which was great. So when I was there, I spent a long time just collating different milestones in my life. So I went through around about each age, something that might have happened that had an effect or an impact on my life. And I just kind of did that for my whole, up to the age I was, so this was 6 years ago. And I did a cord cutting ceremony that released me from a lot of ties that were self-imposed bonds mostly. But then I reached, for the third day, the aim, if you could, was to stay awake in the night, on the last night, and this would be the vigil night, and you would call for your vision on that night. And it was very new to me, and so I decided I would, in the daytime of the third day, I did a drum journey to find assistance from another power animal. And this is the story of the animal that came to me, and it was Black Unicorn. And so this was the story of how the Black Unicorn came to me and assisted me in my vision, and it became the vision. even though at the time I thought it was stupid and I hadn't had any effect. So anyway, this is the first drum journey is it was going to the lower realm to help me find the power animal to help me through the night. So the spider is present with me on all of my journeys. Like I said, it kind of it holds onto the back of my ponytail. That's where it always is when I go on the journeys. And then it comes around and it takes me, it's like leads me down places. So with the spider, we went down through a tunnel. It was kind of, when I came to the tunnel, it was very tiny and it was all gravelly. Anyway, I went down the tunnel, down the dirt, and I came out at the mouth of this huge cave. And so I could see, I just sat at the mouth of the cave. I came from the back of the cave so I tunneled down through the ground. And as I came to the mouth of the cave, it opened out onto like this jungle type area. And so I just sat at the mouth of the cave for a while, looking out. There was like a shadow flying over top. I kept seeing just a shadow flying over. So at first I thought dragon was going to come to me, but that wasn't the case. So I asked the spider if she would take me to meet the power animal to get me through the night. So I climbed onto the spider's back, which is, the awesome thing is when you're in this state, it's like being in your dreams. You can do whatever you want instantly. There's no restrictions of, anything. So I became small and I got on the spider's back and she started jumping from tree to tree, releasing her silk behind her, going fairly fast. And then she stopped. We came to like a clearing and I got off her back and she went back to the back of my hair. Another shadow flew over, which again, I thought dragon was going to come. And as I was looking up, I felt like a breath on the back of my shoulder. And when I turned around, there was the black unicorn standing behind me, this amazing, majestic animal. He was a stallion, regal, beautiful long mane and beautiful long tail, really strong. Like he was an awesome, awesome animal. And he got down onto one of his knees and asked me to climb onto his back and go for a ride, which obviously I did. I mean, who would knock back a black unicorn offering a ride? Yeah, it was cool. So yeah, I kind of clung onto his mane, crouching low over his back, and he's like, hold on. And he just took off racing through this path that he could only see, like going through the forest. It was quite amazing. Going faster and faster, pounding the ground. Like the forest was streaking past me and the colors began to blur. And there was this feeling of ecstasy and bliss and excitement. Like it was pure exhilaration. And we were going so fast that it was almost like I feel like we crossed a dimension, and then we slowed down, and we came to like this glade where there was like an opening in some trees, and he stopped outside of this opening. And when I looked through the opening, there was just hundreds and hundreds of unicorns, and most of them were white. And it was like that beautiful fantasy of, you know, the the waterfall and the rainbow and the flowers and this beautiful energy, glistening, you know, little light energy all around it, glimmering in the sun. You know, it was just one of those awesome, kind of like fairy tale things. So, you know, maybe it did come out of my mind, one of my old fairy tale stories that I loved. So I got down off the unicorn's back and I stood next to him and asked if he would assist me in my night vigil, and would he help me through the night. So he said he would, and he said that he and some of the other unicorns would come to me in the night and surround my circle. I did ask him, because a lot of the vision quests is seeking like your purpose or finding your gift, and often it's something much more simple than what you imagine, you know. And so when I asked the black unicorn what my gift was, he replied that it was my lion heart, and that I am to follow my lion heart in all that I do and teach others to follow their hearts as well. And he said that I was gifted with courage to keep going when I'm down. He also said to me that it's okay to seek isolation and hide out from the world, because that's what I was doing at that time 6 years ago. He said that there's important work to be done behind the scenes, you know, away from the eyes of the world. He said that work is in progress, and when I will move into the world when I'm ready. But in that, Daisy, my dog, Daisy, doing a poo in my video. Jeez. Yes, you're naughty. Yes, you're naughty. Yeah, you're cute, aren't you? Go on, nick off. Yeah, so sorry about that. So I also asked him what my purpose was, and he told me that that would be revealed in the night. So then he took me back. So I climbed back on his back and he took me back to the cave. And I thanked him, as you do with all journeys, when you come across another animal, spirit animal that's going to help you. She better not do another poo. Anyway, then I returned. Days, come here. Sit down. Yes. So then came the night, the vision quest. So I was really nervous, and I'd been fasting for 3 nights and 3 days by this stage. So I was getting a little delirious. I could feel when I put my hands on the ground, it felt like I could feel the ground breathing. So it was like it was lifting up and sinking with each breath. So this very gentle lifting and resting, like the earth was breathing. And I waited until the dusk, and then I came out and I began meditating. And it was because I hadn't had, because I'd fasted for all this time, and I'd spent a few months preparing my body, like clearing my body from sugar and alcohol and any, you know, any kind of impurities. Had just eating clean, vegetarian for a while. And so as soon as I closed my eyes, there was like a lot of imagery straight away. And it was all kind of very chaotic because I was feeling a little nervous. Anyway, after about 20 minutes, I could feel the unicorns coming, and they kind of were coming from one direction, and they started going around my circle, and they were walking around my circle. And there was about probably 10 of them, the black unicorn, and the rest were white. And then they started running, and they were running faster and faster and faster. So my circle was only quite small, and they were just going around and around and around. And it was creating this, a current. And in my meditation, I was lifted up in the current and lifted, about 20 feet off the ground. And I was suspended in this current of these unicorns going really, really fast, drumming up this energy around my circle. And then when this energy kind of reached this peak, the black unicorn, he used his horn and he split me right up the middle. And it was like he, just opened me up, and I fell back onto the ground, and I was watching. So I began watching myself in the middle of the circle, this like skin almost. And I was watching from the edge of the circle, and I walked over to my body that was lying there, and it was ripped open. And I looked within my chest, and there was like this beautiful round spherical shining seed, like a light. It was like a ball of light, and it was only small, so it could fit in my hand. And I lifted up the seed and I placed it into my heart. And then after that happened, there was it's almost like a table with all these different earth spirits at it. And it was like a council. So there was a spirit of a tree, a dryad. There was a few more, there was probably about 5 beings at the table, and they were discussing the earth, and they were saying to me that the earth needs our help at the moment. We really need to focus on helping the earth, sending our energy into the earth to plant the seed. Let me just check this book that I yeah, I can't find it, so I won't worry about that. But then after the council, I kind of got really, it was like I'd lost my patience. I was like, oh, I was so uncomfortable. I think because I was hungry, and I was feeling a bit nauseous. And I stood up, and like as if it was just nothing had happened. And I was like, this isn't working. This is crap. I'm going to bed. And so I went and lied down in my swag and went to sleep, and thought that I hadn't had a vision, and I thought that this doesn't work. And I was really annoyed. It was like I kind of had a little mini little tantrum. Anyway, the next day I woke up, and it was, time we could walk back up to our base camp. So I spent all morning just kind of contemplating and sitting and thanking that part of the earth for holding me for those days, and the animals that had visited me. There was a tiny bone that appeared in the night, which was a bit strange. And I took that bone with me, and I packed up my camp and walked back up the hill. And yeah, so I told my story about the black unicorn coming to help me and how it had opened me up and left this seed. And this was 6 years ago, and I knew that this was the very start. So this seed is what I had to nurture in order to go through the next transition of my life. And it was a time where I was going into from like motherhood into the Marga phase, which is the autumn phase of women. Like, so it was perimenopause, you know, that 10-year cycle that can sometimes take for between perimenopause and menopause. So I knew that I was changing and I was going through a huge transition. And the black unicorn was showing me that the seed was there, and I had to nurture the seed and prepare the space, prepare my body, prepare, go into my shadow and find what I needed to heal, like heal the shadow side, and then be able to step into my role. And it did take a full 4.5 years before I even was ready to go into that space. Of course, the COVID lockdowns hit, and I wasn't really working on myself in that time. It was like I'd halted the situation. And a lot of that was to do with giving up addictions and ridding my body of the being overpowered by outside influence. So it was being able to come into myself and be the pilot, like take the helm and steer my own ship instead of being, you know, at the beck and call of outside influences. And so yeah, that was a long journey. So yeah, I'm very grateful to the black unicorn. I've only seen him one other time in journey since. So he was there just for that time to, you know, fully rip me open and show me what was within, what was possible. It was like the possibility of the journey and what I could become if I nurture and persevere and have patience. A lot of this was about having patience and perseverance and being guided by my heart, my lion heart. So I am a Leo, so it was poignant, the words lion heart, because it really resonated. And yeah, and so now 6 years later, I was able to quit alcohol. So that was, you know, a year and 9 months ago now. And since then, I was able to then venture out into the world. So out of hiding, out of that place of hiding, and still being able to know when to come within, when to be out, when to be shining out, and when to come within and rejuvenate that time. Like, because often when I'm overwhelmed, coming back into silence, coming back into my own space without other people's energies is how I rejuvenate, coming back into nature. Obviously, you can see where I live. It's a beautiful area, surrounded by nature, and I'm truly grateful for being here. And yeah, so that's my story with the black unicorn. So I will continue. There's been 2 other vision quests I've had last year. Once I'd stopped the alcohol, I knew it was time to go back and have another vision quest and find more information about what I should do next. And from that was the journey of Holistic Seed. So it's all been very exciting. And very interestingly enough, I'll share this with you too. I was looking through my journal, and back in 2018, I've always wanted to start a business, and I was trying something else. And I'd gone on a drum journey to find out, what should I call my business? And it was funny because the words seed, when I reread my journal, I'd written the word seed that keeps coming up. And I mean, you're probably familiar when you start a business, there's so many names that have already been taken. And I had this massive list of names that I wanted, and what was available was Holistic Seed. So that's what it's became. And I thought it was quite bizarre that I'd written that down 6 years ago. Yeah, it's quite amazing, quite cathartic going back and reliving the journeys again. And I feel quite honored to share them all and have this diary of these stories, not just for you all to share and perhaps find some healing in the words, being able to draw from nature your own healing, going out and sitting in nature for even a few hours, and really connecting in and slowing yourself down and listening and listening. Yeah, it's a beautiful way. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time.